All right. Fabulous. You guys are fabulous. One more. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing? Of course, yes. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Where can we
A little more.
just over there?
Excellent. Thank you.
Nice to meet you too. Hey, how's it going? You're great at breaking. Oh,
You have so many talents. What is something that you're not good at?
hockey.
Not good at.
Loaded
You tried
answer.
it?
No, I don't know. That's like the stupid answer I tell people. No, actually, no, I put a camera. I don't know. I'm not good at a lot of things. I don't think. I have a. I'm not very patient all the time. I have a hard time with patience sometimes, especially today. We traveled from New York, and traveling is always testy on your patience. That's probably the toughest one. But we got here, and it was all good. So.
Nice. Nice. Well, speaking of hockey, do you have any scars, and are there any good stories behind them?
I actually have a scar right here on my chin, underneath, and it's. I was trying to do the worm at a high school dance, and I just used to do this thing when I was 16 years old, when I would jump into the worm, and I literally jumped and slipped and face planted right.
Can you demonstrate that?
I think I'm a little too. That was 20 years ago, so we'll see. Maybe I'll bust it out on stage.
Okay.
We'll see how the night goes.
All right, well, somebody wants to know if you have a bucket list. What is something on your wish list of things to do in life?
I don't know. I've got to do a lot of amazing. Probably I've gotten to do more things than I ever thought I would get to do. So that's hard. I got to play golf at St. Andrews with my dad this year. That was kind of a big one. I'd like to travel more. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to travel a lot for work, but I think I'd like to just see more of the world, and it's kind of a simple one, but it's definitely true. I just want to be able to travel some more.
All right, well, let's find out about your TV show Guilty Pleasure.
Okay. I've been watching a lot of $1 Million Listing lately. That one's just all of a sudden ends up on my television. What else? I'm still a sucker for the MTV Road Rules challenges. It's just called The Challenge now. That's actually set on my permanent DVR, so I basically watch that whenever it's on. I think those are pretty good ones. I think.
And I think something that probably everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
Favorite role in a musical? Tough question, but
it's really tough. It's one that I don't know if I don't. They've all been favorites for different reasons at different times in my life. I mean, I've got to do. It's crazy to think about the stuff that I've got to do, but Next to Normal, because it was my first show originating a role. But then Hairspray is like one of my all-time favorite musicals, and that was my first Broadway show. And it's just I could list a reason for everything that I've done. So I always like to say the one that I'm doing now. So hopefully Moulin Rouge will be my favorite one.
all right. Keep it in with the role question.
Mm-hmm.
Any particular role that's very much represents you, or is there a role that's way different than who you are?
Again, I think different aspects of my personality kind of come out, or I'm an actor that tries to make the material relatable to myself, and so I try to find myself in roles and how I would function in these situations. Obviously, I'm thankfully not an 18-year-old ghost, and I was never a con man, and but I got to do company last year, and I'm turning 35 in a month, and all my friends are married and have kids, and I'm not, and so that's one that still hits very, very close to home. It came at a very important time in my life, so maybe I'll say. But I don't like to think I'm as closed off as he necessarily is. But who knows? Maybe that's what Bobby would say too. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I've got one more, which is always an interesting question. What's that one movie that you can watch over and over and over again?
That's a good one. I have a couple. A Few Good Men. Anytime I come across that on television, I watch it. Drumline is also the same way. I watched that when first on television. Hook. I can watch Hook over and over and over again. That's one of my favorites. So I think those are good ones.
Nice.
I don't know.
Well, Aaron, thank you very much.
Do you guys have any other questions you want to ask me while I'm just here? Yeah?
What's your favorite part of performing?
Wow. I don't know. This is all something that I used to do for fun, you know. And when I started working, I somehow started doing a show that I'd only seen a couple years previously, and now to think that that was 14 or 15 years ago, and I still get to do it is amazing. But I don't know. I love the response that I get from you guys, and you know, this too is, now that I've been back doing a show on a big stage, it's nice to come back to kind of a small stage like this, because I feel like I get a real, you know, back and forth with the audience that I don't really get to do when I'm on stage. But yeah, so it's a lot of those things. I mean, I get such joy from it, you know, and it feels like no place else. Yeah.
Who's here for the first time? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, first time.
Oh,
that's really great. Yeah. Yeah.
Question? Do you remember, and will you share what your AIM screen name was? And do you remember what your most emo away message was?
Oh gosh. My AIM name was Beamer 8301 because I wanted a BMW when I was 14 and I made it. And 8301 is my birth year, my high school graduation year. It's simple because, you know, Beamer was obviously taken. What was my, oh man, I mean, I don't know what my most emo away message was. I don't even know. I mean, any shape of late 90s hip hop or R&B lyrics, or some dashboard confessional lyric probably. I was in college at that time, so take your pick of any of those things. I'm sure it was up there at one time while I was away. Yeah.
I was just wondering if you were planning on putting out another live album anytime soon.
I don't know. I mean, I would love to do another one. There's no plans for one, but especially now that I kind of have a couple shows that I've been doing that I think a lot, you know, we could make something or record a couple of them. But I don't have any exact plans, but I hope definitely to be able to do that in the future. Yeah.
I was wondering how you decide where you're going to have your concerts.
This has been a part of the country that I kind of haven't been able to come to, so it was wonderful. The timing, and then of course the location was good. Again, you kind of want to go places where you maybe necessarily haven't been before, and just to kind of work that around. So I think the last time I was in San Francisco was 2005. I've really not spent a lot of time here, so I was, and I know Michael Feinstein, and these guys are amazing, and so I was really excited for the chance to get to come here and work with them. So it just worked. The timing finally worked out to be in this area. So it's timing, location, all those things. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you call them up, or do they call you, or
any combination of the thing? Yeah, any combination imaginable. So yeah.
Okay, I actually submitted a question. It was not picked. I hope it's not a bad question.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, I think you mentioned before in the interviews that you missed the chance to participate in American Idol.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
You were so busy with rehearsals.
Yes.
But if there's an opportunity to participate in competitions for professional singers,
Right.
do you think you'd be open to consider that?
Yeah, actually, I read that question. I never heard of the show before, and I didn't know that Jessie J represented the UK. So, if Jessie J could win the thing, it's like I'm not Jessie J. So it's like I've never had the opportunity, but something like that, I would totally be open to it. And who knows?
Because I think the 1.5 billion people deserve to hear the best.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That's very nice of you to say.
Consider that.
Okay, thank you.
She'll be calling you.
Yeah, give me a call about it.
I feel like Moulin Rouge starts at 100% and then goes
Yeah.
to like 250%.
Yeah.
So how do you like maintain that for 2.5 hours?
I don't know, man.
It's pretty insane.
Yeah, it took me a few weeks. I was like in bed for a couple weeks after that. So now hopefully we'll be doing it for a long time. So yeah, I'm trying to still figure out how that happens. But no, you're kind of, the show's shot out of a cannon. It's this massive thing, but I still think it's a very tiny story within this massive thing. So in my head, I'm just focusing on that. Try not to think about that stuff and just go on the ride. But yeah, it's as much fun as it is work. And sometimes in your shows, or often you feel like you're working so hard and you don't necessarily see immediately the what happens for that. You know, you feel like you're kind of pushing something up a hill, and with that, it's not that way at all. Like I felt with that show, the more energy you put in, the more you received from the show and the audience. So it was a much easier thing to navigate because of that. So yeah.
So what are some of your pre-show rituals to get ready with?
I don't really have any. Yeah, I'm kind of just like, I'm like that way on set too. Like when I'm working on a television show or film, I try to keep it as kind of normal and loose as possible. I think that probably keeps me from getting nervous, but no, I kind of just try to say to myself, I've done all the preparation beforehand, and so I don't need to, worry about that. And I just try to take it as anything else, and just I try not to think about it too much. Maybe that's why. So now I'm going to think about it.
And we have time for one more.
Great. Yeah.
How do you remember the lines and dances from Moulin Rouge in the year till it goes to New York?
It's funny. It's something happens like with muscle memory, and if you ask me to. The song lyrics are okay, but like if you asked me to say certain lines out of context right now, I probably couldn't. But if I found myself in the space, I wouldn't even think about it and I would do it. It's just like a weird thing that happens with the repetitive nature of doing 8 shows a week. And it's like that when you're in a long run of a show. Sometimes if you're 6 or 7 months into a run and you think about what you're going to do, you mess up. So if you don't, it's just like a very weird thing that something happens. So right now I probably couldn't tell you, but once we go, again, I'm not thinking about it, I'll be fine. Hopefully tonight too, I'm not thinking about it, and hopefully I'll be fine. Yeah, one more, yeah.
I don't have a question, I just want to tell you that growing up with Moulin Rouge with Nicole Kidman and Carter,
yeah.
till my age, your version of Roxanne was amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, it was spectacular.
Thanks.
Even at the end of this show, I found myself weeping. Weeping.
She was
Thank
crying
you.
the whole thing.
We were at the very end, and the dancer right there just looked at me and gave me a heart, and I was like, oh. It was like spectacular.
Oh, that's really,
I wanna
thank
just
you.
say
I'm very happy you're very good.
Let's thank Aaron for his
Thank you.
Great show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys. We're going to, shows. Got some time to get over to the grand. Oh, and you're.